Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. This is Statistical and Geospatial Inside YouTube series. We are meeting in lesson number 13, which is about research questions. By the end of this lesson, you shall be able to define research questions. You should be able to explain the characteristics of research questions. You should be able to describe how research questions are used. What are research questions? Research questions are clear, focused, and complex questions that guide a research project and define its purpose and scope. Research questions are the foundation of a study. They help in gathering relevant information and lead to the development of a thesis statement or a potential argument. Research questions require synthesis and analysis and are open to debate, making them the basis for finding new knowledge. Key characteristics of a good research question. A good research question should be clear, which means that the purpose of the study should be obvious to the reader without additional explanation. A good research question should be focused, which means that the question must be narrow enough to be thoroughly explored within the confines of the assignment, such as page or limits. A good research question should be concise, which means that it should be expressed in the fewest possible words without losing its meaning. A good research question should be complex, which means that it should not be a question that can be answered with a simple yes or no. A good research question should require more than a summary of facts, prompting you to analyze and synthesize ideas. A good research question should be arguable, which means that the potential answers should not be accepted facts only, but rather a position that can be debated and supported with evidence. How are research questions used? Research questions are used to guide research by providing directions for the whole research work, by helping the researcher to remain focused when gathering information. Research questions are also used to define the scope of the study by providing context for the research work and also by helping the researcher to understand what to include and what to exclude. They also prevent the research from becoming too broad or too large. Research questions are also used to bridge the gap. They help the researcher in finding the existing gap in the literature that the research should fill later. Examples of research questions. Broad topic, high divorce rates among married couples. Research question, what factors contribute to high rates of divorce among couples in metropolitans? Is there any correlation between couples' financial status and divorce? Conclusion. A good research question should be clear, which means that it should be easy to understand, using a precise language, avoiding jargons or vague terms. A good research question should be focused, which means that should be narrow enough to be answered within the allowed length of the project. A good research question should be researchable, which means that it must be feasible to answer using reliable data and sources. And also, it should be able to uh, be answered in a possible logical way. A good research question should also be relevant to the field of study, which means that the question should be of academic and intellectual interest to people in the field you have chosen to study. The question should arise from issues raised in the current situation of the literature. It should be able to establish a clear purpose for the research in relation to chosen field. A good research question should also be potentially novel, which means that it should be original and unique inquiry that adds new knowledge to an existing field by addressing a gap in the current literature, and it should also encourage re-examination of established ideas and can aim to confirm, refute, or find new aspects of the past findings. It must also be specific, that to say it should be able to identify the target population, the key variables, location, and time frame. Lastly, a good research question should be analytical, which means that it should be able to examine relationships, it should be able to examine causes, it should be able to examine effects, it should also focus on genuine dilemma, it should be able to require a complex answer that can be supported by evidence from available sources. Thank you for following and subscribing. See you in the next YouTube video lesson.